Hey everybody, and welcome to the Grace Pathway Podcast. My name is Matt Roberts. I'm your host, and we love to tell stories of people here at Pathway. And like always, we always want to encourage you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share this video. We're so excited about what God's doing through people here at Pathway. We hope it brings you some joy, some encouragement today. And I've invited one of our young adults, our young careers, Anika to the pod. Welcome. How you feeling?
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you. Glad that you're here. How you feeling? You a little nervous?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I'm terrified. Terrified. I'm glad. Hey, but to be fair, I was joking with you earlier. You literally told me, hey, I really think I should do this.
I know.
So, and here we are, and you're like, why'd I say something about it?
That's usually how it goes for me.
I love that so much. Well, I have known you now for not fully a year. We're coming up on a year in the fall. That's when I met you. But since I've known you, I've gotten to get to really know you. I've had a few coffee times, met your fiance, which I just said, yes, you are engaged. But man, let's rewind a little bit. I want to kind of get to know, help people get to know you and hear a lot of the story for you. How long have you been coming to Pathway? This is not like some people we have been here, born here, raised here. That's not your story.
No, it is not. The first time I came to Pathway was on the election night. I came to the women's Bible study on Tuesday night, and that was my first time ever walking foot on this campus.
Now, did you grow up in a Christian home? Was Jesus talked about? Like, what was that like?
I did not grow up in a Christian home. My grandma, she was Catholic, so we would celebrate and participate in Lent for Easter. We would go to the Easter services at her church. And then we did like Advent every Sunday. We would read a little blurb on what each candle represented. And then on Christmas Eve, we would put baby Jesus in the manger and then wake up and, well, it was Christmas. Then we'd open our stockings and presents and stuff.
Yeah. So I would say that's pretty traditional for people who have a little bit of Catholicism brought into their family. But as far as like your home, besides grandma, Jesus was not a part of it.
No,
God was not a part.
So I lived in Patterson for the first 7 years of my life. And
so for people who don't know where is Patterson located?
It is near Modesto.
Okay, so we're close to the coast. Got it.
No,
south. No, I'm
that's in the valley.
I know
Central
that.
Valley. Yeah.
Central Valley. Yes.
Where apricots are from.
Great.
It's like 6 hours away from here, I think.
Got it.
South on I-5.
Why did I think you had some coast time? Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So after 7 years, we moved to Eureka with my grandma.
Okay, there we go.
And that's where we started going to church with her on those two holidays.
Got it. Okay. I'm like, I know that you were from the coast.
Yeah.
The stories are connecting. We're bridging it.
You
did. You did that on purpose. You were setting me up for failure. So where would you consider home as far as like when you growing up? Was it more Eureka or was it more like the Modesto area?
I would say Eureka now. Okay. When I was younger, I still said Patterson because I liked it there, but I haven't been there since 2007. So
wow. Okay.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute. So you're in Eureka. What brought you, obviously, through the 299 and over into Redding, California?
Shasta College. Okay. I was an ag major at College of the Redwoods over in Eureka, but Shasta College has a better ag program. So me and my sister, we moved over here in 2019.
Wow.
And I've been here ever since.
Wow. So what was coming from Eureka? A little chilly, a little breezy, kind of year round, and then you come to smoldering, nice and cool, Redding, California, summertime hot. What was that like?
I loved it.
You're from Modesto area, so you're used to the heat, you know.
I have loved it up until last summer. Working outside in the heat, I started dying last summer.
Well, last summer was the 118 day, and that was not okay.
In 2019, I moved over here when it was 116. That was the day I moved. In August, so that was awesome.
People have joked you can see hell from here. It's that hot. It's great. So you moved over, you loved it, and you've been here ever since. And okay, so you grew up with some Catholic background, minimal, but it was there. What was life? What brought you to church then on election day? Like of all days, like you say, all right, I'm just going to go to church? What was that decision for you going like, I'm going to go here. I'm going to try this out?
It was November's the 11th month? It was like an 11-month long process.
Okay.
Of me contemplating things, researching, listening to hours and hours of podcasts and people's testimonies, and just figuring out what I was looking for. And I would see on podcasts these women, they would have these community of women in their church and how they lived life with them. And I've never really had that. And that's something I wanted. And I was like, well, I'll go to a women's Bible study and I'll start learning about the Bible and hopefully make friendships along the way. And
really? That's awesome.
I just jumped right in.
Yeah, you did. I mean, that takes a lot of courage to like, so did you just like Google churches near me and find Pathway? And then like, what brought you to Tuesday night? Because most people, if they go to church, they're going to go like on a Sunday or a Saturday or something, and just pop in and go like, is this for me? You went to Tuesday night Bible study first. So what brought you to that place?
So I really wanted to go to a women's only Bible study. That was the main thing. And driving on I-5, I could see Pathway. I never knew what it was. And one day I Googled it and I was like, oh, that's a church. I'll have to check it out. And I checked out the website. And this was when I was really looking to see where has a Bible study. And after deer season, I told myself I needed to get serious and commit to it and go. And so the election night was the first night I had to go, and I didn't know anybody. I looked up the time on the website. I didn't know where I was going. Thankfully, there was signs, so yes. I figured it out, and I sat at a table by myself because I was a little late from voting. And Margaret, one of the leaders, she came and sat with me the whole night.
Margaret Kennedy?
Yes.
Love Margaret Kennedy.
I do too. She's awesome. And we did that study night together, and I sat and talked to a couple ladies afterwards and kind of told them a little bit about me, and they were super excited to have me there, which was that like took me aback because I wasn't used to people being like that. Usually I'm like, when people in your day-to-day life, they're like, hey, how's it going? You're like, good. And they're like, yeah, I'm good too. And that's kind of the end of the conversation.
There's no depth.
Yeah. And people here like ask me how I'm doing, and they always ask me follow-up questions to that. And that took me a little bit of getting used to because I don't know. I just haven't felt like random strangers essentially that I've never met before.
Totally. And now I'm talking with them and we're sharing things, and I don't know why do I like this? And it's a totally different vibe than I'm sure what life was like and has been like. Okay, so take me back a year. I mean, a year before where you said you were desiring community. Like what was life like? I mean, because I hear that often. Like I just crave community. And people are searching for it, and they usually search for it in a lot of different places. And we always say that the best community really should be at church. It really should be full of the best people who've all been saved by grace, and people who are hopefully pursuing God. They're full of grace. They're full of love. They're full of truth. They're full of the things of the Spirit, right? It should be the easiest, but it can also still sometimes be difficult to find. But you, not saved at the time, not following Jesus, not praying, not a part of any church, you felt this desire for community. What was that like? And then what eventually led you to go, maybe I should try it at church? Or what made you go, I'm going to start listening to podcasts about people in church? Like, because obviously you had a Catholic background, but yeah, kind of connect some of the dots for me a little bit.
Well, I started listening to Sadie Robertson's podcast. Okay. Well, that's good. And I liked watching her on Duck Dynasty, and that's how I kind of started watching them. And then it just kind of snowballed into more of her podcasts, and then people that I've seen on her podcast, I would go and watch theirs, and it just kind of kept spreading.
Okay.
I don't know when exactly I felt the desire to have a community.
Right.
But before, I've been a very independent person, and I've been very independent my whole life. I've not ever had a lot of friends, and that hasn't stopped me from living my life. Like, I love the outdoors, so
You're a big hunter. You've referenced like deer season for people. That's yes, Bambi's no more. But you're not just out there for the fun. We were joking earlier, like turkey hunting. That's dinner. Like that's a big time. That's something that you love to do. And that's cool that it was Duck Dynasty that kind of. I mean, they're big believers and led the church, and that led you to, let me start exploring what this is that they have. And
which is kind of crazy because I didn't grow up in a hunting family.
Right.
I'm the only one in my family that is into that. And I also didn't grow up in a Christian home. Right. But I did appreciate growing up when I watched that show, how at the end of every episode, as a family, they sat at dinner, had family dinner, and prayed together. Right. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
I didn't understand it at the time,
right?
But looking back now, I appreciate it even more that they had that on TV.
Now, when did it shift for you to like, I want to get into hunting? Was that through Riley? What got you into the hunting and all the?
I would say Riley. I've always had the desire to do that. I just haven't had anybody to teach me or any other resources really. Yeah. So it wasn't until Riley that I started hunting.
Is her fiance, for everyone watching, soon to be married.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
Very, very excited for you guys. He's awesome. I love Riley. Okay, so then we fast forward back to where we were. You show up on election day, and then you go to that Bible study. And then did you come to church that following weekend, or was there a couple weeks, or when did you come to church?
Sunday.
You came to church that Sunday.
I was going to come to the 9:15 service, but I chickened out. So I drove down the road and sat in a parking lot for an hour. And then I came early back to, I sat here for like 20 minutes before the second service. Right. And I was just watching where people were going to try to figure out where I was supposed to go and stuff. Because there's no maps on the website.
There is no maps. We're working on it. We're working on it.
So then I just followed where most of the crowd was going, and I sat in the very, very top left corner, and then I hurried out of here afterwards, and it was really awkward and scary and uncomfortable, but I'm glad I went because now I'm a lot more involved at church, and I've met a lot of awesome people. And because then I think you came the following week, which was like the first weekend of, there was a couple weeks there. I know you came to Starting Point, which was like our second one we did. And that was really helpful. I am so glad I decided to go to that because it has helped me a lot in figuring out where things are, how to get more plugged in here, and just find my home.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the day, because I remember I was asking, and I met you.
That was December 1st.
That was December 1st. It was December 1st. That's what it was.
Yes.
And that was the day, because Bill, we had been praying for people, prayer walking, doing all that, and we'd write names down on the walls for people to come to church. And every Sunday, Bill did a gospel invitation. Remember, at Starting Point, at the end, we were talking, and I think you had mentioned like you were new, but I saw in your hand the Welcome to God's Family book, and I said, did you just get saved? And you went, yeah. I'm like, today? She goes, yeah, today. I was like, well, no way. So you went to church at the 9:30, got saved, then you ended up in Starting Point with me. And that was the coolest thing. And getting to like share in that moment with you, and then being able to like kind of help make this thing that you kind of were so much courage, girl, like to do what you did, to like come into a place not knowing anybody, and to just, but this passion, this hunger to like want to kind of figure out what's next. You have a story though. I know it's that we got to talk about the spice story, because I feel like God's been working on you for a while now, and in like kind of the craziest of ways. And so can you tell me that story real fast of?
So I just want to preface it by Riley has been my rock, and he's really the one who started planting the seeds. And every time I would have a hard time with whatever it is going on, he would tell me to have a little faith. And we would have a lot of conversations about, like, what's in the Bible and how to prove it was real, because I'm very scientific and I need to, like, see it to believe it, and I need the facts type person.
Right.
So that is something that I struggled with. So he just would say, have a little faith every so often. And I was having dinner at my friend's house, and I don't remember what we were making, but I got some spices out of the cupboard. It was onion and garlic, and there was dill still in there, but I didn't need that. And we used it. I put the spices back, and I thought I put them back in the exact same order I took them out from. And then we ended up needing cinnamon for some drinks we were making. And I opened the cupboard, and I look at the spices, and it spells out God. The garlic is there, onion, and then the dill. And I'm like, are these how you normally have your spice? I was trying to not freak out at first. I was like, are these how you have your spices in this cupboard? And she's like, no. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I wanted to be 100% sure that I was not, like, I did that on accident, essentially.
Right.
And then I was like, that's a sign. Like, that is 100% a sign. Like, and she was like, stop freaking out. Like, it's fine. You're freaking me out now.
It's garlic, onions, and dill.
Yeah.
Anika, that's all it is.
Yeah. And I was like, no.
But for you, that was a big moment.
Yeah, that is, like, the first time that I noticed God in my life.
Wow.
And then that was in, I think, October of 2023.
Okay.
And then I think I was already kind of listening to some Sadie podcasts already, just casually at work.
Probably just, added flame to the fire a little bit.
Yeah.
To go like, hey.
So I guess I was already, like, seeking without me realizing it, and that was, like, the icing on the cake that made me really open my eyes.
Yeah. So then you come to church on December 1st, and Bill's talking, and he's doing gospel invitation. What was that moment like for you? Like, was it like, because you had been to church a few times before then. Mm-hmm. Was it like, this finally makes sense? Was it like, again, there's always a step of faith that it takes. Was it like a light bulb moment? What was that moment like for you?
Well, in that year, I was doing a lot of research and stuff too, and, like, figuring out more of what exactly faith is. But I think Bill might have offered that prayer the week before, but I didn't do it then. And then he did it again, and I was there, and I'm like, well, I feel like I should do this. I don't really fully know what this means, but I think this is important, and if I want to be serious about my faith in Jesus, I need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what he says all the time. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing.
Yeah.
And that's the first step. And since then, I feel like your world has just been, like, complete. Tell me about, since that decision, what's been going on in your world? What have you been getting connected in? What have you been a part of since then?
I'm a part of a couple small groups. I'm on the softball team.
Yeah, you are.
I'm still in the Bible study on Tuesday nights. Yeah. I go to the service with family.
Yeah. And then what's funny, I think it's next month or in February, you came to Starting Point again.
Yes.
With Riley, getting him plugged in. And now he's connected. But you were practically leading the class. You were practically, like, giving people a tour. Over here, Matt, you don't forget this part. It was the coolest thing. I was like, Anika, you just need to be here at all times. Like, this is awesome. I was like, by the way, we have one on the Sunday. You should come be a part of it.
I'll try, but no promises.
No promises. All right. No, she says, we'll get her. But I just love that, because I think it's been so cool to watch you. And then now, I mean, Riley was, he was saved, but he wasn't connected And since you getting saved and being more of the connection, relational one of the two of you, you've gotten him back into church.
And when I first started coming here, I would ask him every week if he wanted to come, and he said no, and I was okay with that because I knew when he tried to push me, it wasn't going to work. Right. So I was like, it's got to be
everyone's individual decision.
It has to be on his time. Right. So I just have to be patient with that. And then the second starting point came, and I knew how helpful it was for me, and I was like, all right, you can at least go to this. It's 1 hour, it's a tour, it's not anything weird. Can you please just do this one thing for me? And he did, and then eventually he started coming to church with me and joining a small group and
coming to young adults first Fridays and not building an paper airplane.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I know you guys didn't do it. Did not know how to make paper airplanes, and that's my fault. I should have provided a lesson for you guys. No, it's just been so cool. And now you guys, I mean, you guys have been engaged for a minute, but now you guys, I think you also recently though went through a season where you got to really grow in your understanding with Pastor Josh on what a Christian marriage looks like. Just explain a little bit of that to me, because I know that was a kind of a big light bulb moment for you, even just like, marriage and relationships, it's not always been modeled for you. But then to hear it and as to why it mattered most, like what was that like for you, kind of learning about that?
It was eye-opening, and it was also a little intimidating at first because I was a little like, I don't know, it's new. So totally. New things are typically uncomfortable, but new ideas aren't bad. So, and of course I'm a researcher, so
you are a researcher.
I went and started researching in a variety of different ways. I picked up my Bible, I picked up some podcasts, I asked other married couples, and just kind of tried to get my questions answered that I had.
Yeah. And it's led you to a place where you're like, all right, ready to do this.
Yep.
So cool.
And I'm glad that, because when we first got engaged, I was like, all right, let's go. I don't care how or when, like, let's just get married. But it's been 7 months, and I'm glad that it's been as long as it has, because it has helped me, like, really fully understand or get a better understanding of what marriage entails.
Totally. Well, and 7 months ago, you guys weren't connected into a church. You weren't going to church. You weren't saved. And so now, both of you back at church with a kind of a refresh of relationship with the Lord. You're saved. He's back in church now. It's like a new couple, and it's this really powerful, redeeming story of, I think, what God's grace really is all about, and getting you to that place. And so, that I'm always going to ask this question, and I know I prefaced it to like, hey, think about this. But my favorite question to ask is, hey, for someone who maybe didn't grow up in a Christian home like yourself, someone who craves community, people who are searching, what would be your piece of encouragement for somebody? To the Anika of 10 years ago or even a year ago, what would you say to you back then about the person you are now and like what you were missing or anything like that?
I would say keep searching. Even if you don't really know what you're searching for, you're still searching, and one day you'll find what you're searching for and be like, oh, that's what I needed. Yeah. Another big thing I would say is get a Bible that you understand, whatever the version is. That was really important for me because I was not understanding a couple of the versions, and I was like, whoa, what am I supposed to do if I don't understand what it's saying?
Right. That's really good. It's really good. Find a Bible And I would say even find some people that you can ask questions about, because I think that was really big. I mean, you came in with pretty green with some of the things, and having a group of women that you can sit with and learn and there's no judgment. It's like, hey, we're all in this together.
Do something scary and uncomfortable because it makes you grow from it. Yeah. I have said that my whole life. I've told people, if you're comfortable, you're stagnant, and being uncomfortable is where you're going to see your most growth, and then you can look back on it and be like, wow, I'm glad I did that. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have all this now today.
So good. Do something uncomfortable, she says.
At least one thing.
At least one thing. Do the next most uncomfortable thing in your world. I totally agree, because I think what is it? Why wouldn't you do that? It's usually because there's fear involved, or there's like some insecurity involved or something. But if it's something even like potentially really good, so usually what I always say, it's the best things in life are the things that are not the easiest. Yeah. They take a little bit of pursuit. A little work,
And it's okay to like stumble a little bit. Yeah. That's just a part of life. Yep. And guess what? You grow from that too.
I mean, we always say, it's like, hey, if you're gonna fall down, do it falling forward. If you're gonna land with your face in the mud, might as well be in the right direction. Yeah. Because I think the game of comparison is that it kills. You think that nobody else has ever done this before, or is dealing with this like you have, and yet you don't know what other people have gone through, and the success of people, they've probably gone through so much other stuff to get to where they are. It's very, very rarely is there, the easy road led to this, you know? And I just appreciate your perseverance so much. I think your resilience to like, I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to do and find and search till I know. And for you to say, yes, I want Jesus, and I want to get saved after the year of searching and a year of like being, and even coming to church for a few weeks and going like, do I want this? Is this what's best? And then for you to, when you do, because when you're all in, you're all in. There's not a lot of like, there's no gray area there. And since then, I mean, you've been like encouraging a lot of young adults. You've been in their small groups. You and Riley have become like the big brother, big sister couple to so many of them. You've been coming to First Fridays and just, again, helping somebody else feel connected. You've been inviting people who don't go to church.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know the love Jesus has for them. It's amazing, and I just want everybody to have it and feel it.
Yeah, and it starts, but man, because you are saved, that means that God's got even more in store for the people in your world. And so, well, Anika, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being a part of this. Just want you to know how much we love you, we appreciate you, and we just are excited about what God's doing in your life.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.